Independent MP for Wentworth Allegra Spender has delivered her maiden speech to Parliament calling for tax reform and warning the coalition against ignoring women.
Women will be represented. We have been polite, we have asked nicely and we have waited. But we've done waiting and we're going to take what is ours. This crossbench reflects this and ignore it at your peril.
And Allegra Spender joins us live now from Canberra. Allegra, good morning to you. So a portion of that speech went after the coalition over the amount of female representation. But as Julie Bishop said in the past, someone like you should have been in their team. So where are they going wrong on that front, and why wasn't someone like you originally poached?
Look, I think that where the coalition has gone wrong, I think, is a couple of things. Firstly, it's actually listening to the communities that I represent. For example, wanting strong action on climate change, wanting strong action on government integrity, and finally, absolutely wanting women to be in Parliament representing people. I said in my speech last night, it's been 25 years that the coalition has pretty much stood still in terms of female representation in the lower house. And so I think that's really a question for them about why are they not really promoting women into seats that they can win, and how they do that? Because even if you look at the independent crossbench who've just brought in, only one of those people who took a Liberal seat was actually taking one from a woman. All the other people, including myself, were actually taking them from coalition men.
So do you think more broadly women actually want to do it, even following the success of people such as yourself?
Absolutely. I think, women want to be represented. I think many people, it's not just about women, it's actually about the Parliament representing and reflecting the people in terms of ethnicity, in terms of age, and obviously in terms of gender. Definitely. Yeah. I know a lot of women who want to do it, but, they want to do it, in a way where they feel that they will be truly supported.
OK, you want tax reform and a greater focus on housing market. Your electorate of Wentworth, it's, shall we say, out of reach for most people. So what would you want to change to make it easier?
Look, I think there are two key things that can help drive housing affordability over time. And I think the first of that is actually housing supply. We are just not building enough houses in this country. We have 400 houses per 1,000 people. That's actually one of the lowest number in the OECD. If you look at Wentworth, has a lot of apartments and actually is a very dense electorate. We already have a lot of housing there. But I think the other key opportunity is to reform things like stamp duty, which is a cost on every single person who buys a house. I know it's a state tax, but I think that the federal government could help provide leadership here and actually support the states in making that reform, because that is the evidence is to say that by reforming that stamp duty tax, you'll actually also improve the fluidity and the movement of the housing market, which is also really important.
Well, this feeds into the sharpening rental crisis too. Would you like to see changes around long-term leases and bigger taxes on vacant properties, for instance?
Look, I think that my focus has been to date really about the idea of how do you improve the housing stock. And I think absolutely, I know there are a lot of people in Wentworth who are really struggling with increased rentals at the moment. And at the same time, you've just presented that the RBA is probably going to increase rates today, and that is also going to put stress on families. So people are getting it on all sides. I think it's about put pressure on the housing in terms of whether you're a renter or a homeowner, but it's also the other aspects of cost of living. OK, a couple of quick ones here. Should the government extend the fuel excise cuts? Look, I don't believe that they should. I think that it's a very expensive tax, and so I think what we should do is actually, if you're going to you need to use that money wisely. We've got a huge amount of debt, and I don't believe that we should do that. And I'm also pleased to see that fuel prices are starting to come down. Yeah, and I just saw this morning just a shade over $1.60, which is quite the change from where it was. And exactly.
Will you support the government's climate legislation as it stands in its current form?
Look, I will, because I think that business is asking for certainty for 2030 and for 2050 so that they can make the investments they need to get carbon out of our economy. So I will absolutely support that legislation, but I want the government to go further, and I'll be pushing them to take greater policy action there. OK, Allegra Spender, the speech is done and you're underway. Thank you for your time this morning. Thanks so much.